Hey everybody, Red here. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. So, yeah, I got the wrong side of my script showing. So let's jump right into it. I actually have a pretty important note about language in Sense and Flexibility because Kasumi is about to come into the mix and language is kind of important. I know that if you romance Thane, he'll call her Siha and she'll go,
I think my translator just glitched. What did you call me?
That implies that they all have some sort of translator chips in their brains that are translating what people are saying, which I don't know about you, but I have a huge problem with that. If we're all hearing people talking translated through this chip, when Tally says, come on you little bosh tit, we wouldn't hear that. We would hear stupid face or booger brain, ass munch, whatever it is she actually says. And when Thane calls you Siha, we wouldn't actually hear Siha, we would hear guardian angel of the goddess, whatever, I'm dark and brooding. And that isn't just the translator glitching, it's because that is when they're choosing to speak a different language. My biggest problem with the whole translator theory is that, what's our favorite part about Garrus? He's got a sexy voice. Then that means that when Garrus and Shepard are having an intimate conversation, she's not hearing his actual words from his mouth. She's hearing him saying boogity bobbity biggity, and she's hearing hello, I am a robot in her ear, and that's not okay. That's stupid. It is my theory that, much like in World of Warcraft, there is a common language that they all speak, called Common, because I'm not creative, so I couldn't think of a common language. And then they all have their own languages that they can speak throughout the different species, like the Turians speak whatever, and humans speak all of our different languages. So that's where Kasumi comes in, is that she speaks Japanese. She doesn't speak English, but her Common isn't very good. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the language bit. So when it comes up and I start talking about, she said in Common or in Japanese, nobody goes, ah, nerd rage, what's Common, I don't understand. Whatever, it's a fan fiction. Get over it. Moving on. So yeah, let's go to the Q&A I talked about last week. You guys actually did ask me a lot of questions, which is awesome. I was super excited and I read them all, but I'm not going to answer them all because A, I don't want this to be super, super, super long and thusly super, super, super boring. And two, did I say one or A? B, I don't want to answer all the questions and then have people not ask questions this week and then run out of questions and then next week just be like, God, I don't have anything to do. I am not going to answer all the questions, but I did read them all and I loved them all and I will try to answer them next week. So yeah, the first question, where's my handy dandy piece of paper? AskGen2010, who has a different name on the blog, but it's long and I'm not going to read it. So there it is. I'm going to put it on the screen somewhere. Here's a question for you. What was your initial inspiration to write your story? When did you know you were going to write it? Was it a particular point in the game? That's a good question, and it actually ties into the next question. So, the reason I started writing fan fiction is because, like all of you, I played Mass Effect 2 a million times, and then there was this void left in my life. And so I started clicking through the interwebs, and I started reading fan fictions. My biggest problem with other people's fan fictions is that they wrote Garrus like this pining, lovesick, like he's just a wimp. When it comes to Shepard, he's like, oh, I've loved you forever and I will keep loving you until I die. That didn't make a lot of sense to me because he's a badass. Why would he be attracted to her right off the bat? That doesn't make any sense. They're different species. I've never looked at like a gray wolf and gone, hey, you know, I could probably, that's weird. That was a big reason I started writing the fanfiction, is because I wanted to explore how this primal predatory dude could come to like this human who is nothing like the females he's supposed to be attracted to. And then there were a lot of Shepards who were Mary Sue's, and that's what ties into the next question. It's a super long paragraph, but essentially it's from Sue-chan and says, how do you avoid making your Shepard into a Mary Sue? For those of you who don't know, a Mary Sue is typically a character with a dark past who has risen up from the ashes and conquered the world and is this perfect, perfect character who has no flaws and is really boring, give your character some flaws. That's the best thing I can think of. Another thing is don't make her past so traumatizing that it's insurmountable. It's not realistic. Like, if you make your shepherd an orphan who had her entire orphanage blown to pieces and scavenged around the traverse for a couple months before she was taken in by slavers and turned into a sex slave, and then lost her sight only to get her sight back and then lose her legs. Like, whew, that's some heavy stuff. And nobody's gonna believe she could come back from that. She's not gonna overcome such an impossible past and be any kind of normal. She's gonna be crazy and bonkers and not gonna be able to save the universe. Good examples. I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but we're gonna talk about it now. Superman and Batman. When you look at Batman, that is such a rich character. He's got such a dark background. He doesn't have superpowers, but he's really, really smart. Then you have Superman. Dark past, came from a planet that's dead now. Parents sent him in a bucket down the river, essentially, like Moses. Got to our planet and found out he's got all these superpowers. There is nothing that can be thrown at him that he does not have a power to counteract. On top of being unbeatable, he's so lame. For justice and candy and children and babies and...
That's stupid.
He's just lame. He's not fun to read because there's nothing wrong with him. Like, nobody wants to read about the perfect guy down the block who does everything right. He makes you feel bad about yourself. Like, oh, like I had a cheeseburger today and now I'm kind of bummed out. You want to make it a realistic character with demons and flaws and stuff like that. If you met Superman on the street, you would be like, oh, you're kind of a dick. I swear to God. That's the end of the Q&A for today. And I actually have another Q. I have a Q to you. I want to ask you guys a question, and then you guys give me your responses on whatever medium you find appropriate. So my question to you is, who is your favorite villain of all time? It can be real life villain or fictional villain, books, video games, wherever you find your favorite villain. Tell me who it is and let me know. I'll be looking forward to hearing new questions from you guys or new content ideas, and looking forward to your answers to the question. That's it for me. I think this was long enough this week. My name's Red, and I'm about to make you go, oh hey, that song! Have a great week, guys. I'll see you next time.